Okay, so today we're going to go over the closing costs in Texas for the seller, how much they are, who pays for what, and I'm going to do this by showing you some closing statements, settlement statements, and some actual real estate transactions so you'll have an idea of what it looks like when you get down to the closing table. So hold on. Hey, it's me, Gerald, an active real estate agent and investor, and I'm all about helping others with what I've learned and continue to learn since 2007. So if you're just doing some research and need help selling or buying a house without feeling pressured by an agent, well then you come to the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on that little notification bell so you get more videos just like this. All right, let's go jump in these statements and see where that money's going. All right, first thing I want to mention is this is actually from a real estate transaction here in Arlington, Texas. The contract sales price was $185,000. Always refer to the contract to determine responsible paying party. The reason that the title company gets to receive all the paperwork is they'll look at all the paperwork and find out who's paying for what as agreed to by both parties, buyer and seller. The numbers on this transaction is fairly typical for the most part. This is what the seller is expected to pay. In saying that, you have seller charge in this column that deducts from the $185,000 contract sales price. In this instance, you had a $150 option fee that was already received by the seller, but it gets deducted from the $185,000 contract sales price because it was probably credited towards the sales price in the contract. The next section is tax proration. The seller responsible from January 1st to January 17th. This is the amount for the year, so prorated will equal $85.92. There was no HOA dues on this property, so there's none that apply here. If they were, then it would probably go in this section as well. Commission. This is going to be dictated between the home seller and the listing broker on the listing agreement. Keep in mind that the real estate commission is negotiable and an agreement between the home seller and the listing broker. And that's covered in a whole other video for the listing agreement, which should be on the link up here. I believe it's in paragraph 5 for the total, and in paragraph 8, which dictates how much the broker gets for bringing the buyer. The next section is going to be a title and escrow charges. The one to look at here is going to be, and typically normally the most expensive one is going to be the owner's title policy. Again, this is going to be dictated by the contract, and normally the seller pays for the title policy. And the charge for the owner's title policy is set by the state of Texas, and I can show you where to find that here in a minute. The fees you might want to be concerned and shop around is going to be actual escrow fees and any document preparation fees. And these will vary from title company to title company. The other ones I believe are also set by the state, the guarantee fee, as well as the amendment to the owner's title policy. And then right here, anytime you see POC, it simply stands for paid outside of closing. I've already did this math, and this is not in addition, but it's actually included in these fees. It just got noted in here. They went to Tarrant County Clerk for the release of liens. And you have two, because here we go to the next section. You have disbursements paid to. This section is usually for liens on the property. So a mortgage is a lien. So you have first mortgage and a second mortgage that were taken care of, paid out of the contract sales price. They had outstanding taxes for the previous year, so they took that out and paid those as well. Other liens that may be included in here has anything to do with maybe mechanics liens or judgments, IRS. Believe it or not, some sellers do get surprised when they start working with a title company and realizing there's a lien on the property. And the title company does not negotiate for you. So the best thing to do is find out if you do have any liens and try to settle all that before you even list your property on the market. And that way that'll be taken care of. If we go back up here, right here, you got the survey. If you still have the survey from when you purchased property, that would be great, because more than likely you wouldn't have to pay for it. If you have HOA fees, you may have a resale certification that may be applied here. And according to contract, the seller may or may not have to pay for that. So in this particular contract, you had a $185,000 contract sales price. You had these fees that are deducted from it. You end up having $26,298.96 cash going to the seller. And yes, you do see to and from, because you actually could end up having to pay if you have too many liens on the property, and you end up having to make a check out to the title company to close and get rid of that property. And yes, I have seen that happen before as well. Now let's get to this 1280. I want to show you exactly where we get that from. Alright, so real quick, the owner's title policy is basically an insurance policy to protect the new homeowner from loss of ownership. and I'll get more than that in another video. Right now we're going to cover how the policy premium is determined, and it's actually determined by the contract sales price. So if you come to this page here, Texas Department of Insurance, and I'll leave a link in the description below. This is from the state of Texas, and this is how they get their prices. So you have the policies up to and including, and you got the list of prices here. It goes all the way up to $100,000. So if it's a $100,000 house, $100,000 sales contract price, it's going to be $832 premium. Anything above that, then you start have to doing a formula. So between $100,000 and $1 million, in our example, we had $185,000 sales price, contract sales price. Then you can subtract 100, which leaves 85,000. You multiply times 0.00527, and then you add $832. I believe you do round up here as well. So you step 3, multiply the result, and round to the nearest dollar. And if you do the math on this, this gives us the 1280 that we had on our previous example. They do have examples down here that you can follow. If you want to test your math, it explains it down here. But in a minute, I'm going to tell you how you get these numbers way easier than this. Okay, I'm going to run you through one more example here. This one's laid out a little bit different. The contract sales price was $219,900. They got the settlement charges to the seller at $10,097.19. They got the mortgages right here taken away. Option fee credit is $100, and the county taxes right here at $156.18. So you get the contract sales price and take away the deductions, and you get a cash to seller of $51,573.23. What we're going to cover here is the other section itemizing the settlement charges to seller. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is the real estate commission. Once again, it's imperative that you understand that the real estate commission is between the home seller and the listing broker. Right here we have it divided up into the listing broker and the broker bringing the buyer. For the total amount on this property is $47.13. All right, if you remember on page 1 of this example, you had a closing cost of $10,097.19. Part of that is what we just went over on the real estate commission, and here is the rest of it. Title services of $57, escrow fee of $225. You remember on the first example, the escrow fee was $450, so this is a lot cheaper than the other one, and the sales price on this one is more expensive than the other one. You got your title policy of $1539. Remember, that's determined by the contract sales price, and the premium is based on Texas Department of Insurance. You have $40 here recording fees that's added in this one. They also deducted the previous year's taxes of $25.91. And in this contract, the seller didn't have a survey, so they ended up having to buy one. Again, if you have an existing survey, more than likely you can keep from having to pay another survey fee. And then the buyer in this contract wanted a $500 home warranty and wanted the seller to pay for it, which the seller agreed to do. That adds up to your $10,097.19. Alright, I received this email from a title company when I was inquiring about their fees. If you remember, that fee that we're talking about, the owner's title policy, doesn't change. It's according to the sales price. They have that in this email right here. It says title premiums and recording fees are set by the state or county clerks and vary according to the sales price and size of the documents and are same no matter who closes the transaction. Alright, so you can go to the website that we looked at to calculate what that title premium is going to be, or better yet, you can contact this title company. Now, title company may have a website where you can just go there and input your own stuff in there, or they might send you to an app. But keep in mind, those apps or websites may or may not be accurate. That's why I always say just better just to give them a call. Now, what you're shopping around for is the different fees. If you remember in the first example, we had a $450 escrow fee. Second example is $225. That's a big difference. The first example, we had over $200 in document preparation fees. And the second example, we didn't have no document preparation fees. Now, when you sell your house and it's a few days before closing, you're going to receive a disclosure of fees, the settlement statement, so that you can go over before you go to the closing table. Because once you hit the closing table, they're going to have you sign a form or disclosure saying, hey, you were afforded to shop these services around. In other words, nobody forced you to choose them to provide these services. But the funny thing about it is they do that just a couple of days before closing time, where you're ready to collect a check and you're done. And that's why I'm trying to go over this with you right now, so you can be well prepared and knowing what you're going to get into. And one more thing to remember, just remember that these things down here may or may not apply to you on the closing as well. All right, as a reminder, just remember that everything in real estate is negotiable. If you have any more questions, you need help or something, feel free to reach out to me. You can call, text, or email me anytime, and I'd be more than glad to help you out. All right, take care and have a blessed day.